Hi everyone. Today we are discussing about the business and corporate law regarding the Corporations Act. We have discussing about a case here, ASIC versus Maxwell and Oars. This is a group presentation. The group presentation has 4 members in this group, which are Imran, Arif, Rajiv and Jahed. And we are submitting this group presentation to Jonathan, our lecturer. And I'm Rajiv. I'm giving an introduction regarding this case study. The Business and Corporations Act we discussed in this case study. The provisions of the Corporation Act plays a significant role in this case. That's why we have selected the ASIC versus Maxwell and Oars. This provides an understanding regarding the provisions of the Comparison Act and duties laid by the directors. For all the consequences and the breach of the provisions were established in the report, and we are effective understanding. Also, this case which provide the directors with an understanding about the compliance of all other problems of the acts and sections in Australia. In this slide, I'm discussing about the case introduction. The given case is ASIC versus Maxwell and Oars is involved among the 2 groups, which are ProCrop and Central Development Group. Both the companies are listed on ASIC and follow the provisions which are provided in the Corporation Act. The companies were involved in the false advertisement for the purpose of invitation to the public in relation to the investments drawn. These advertisements are organized by the offers of both the organizations. Hence, the suit is involved in the violation of the laws applicable to the individuals. In this case, Maxwell and Business Express Success acts as a consultants and are responsible for the purpose of fundraising for these both companies. The schemes are promoted with the help of newspaper advertisements. The promotion was undertaken by Mr. Maxwell for both the groups to seed. The amount of capital from the investors in the offer which is published in newspaper, there is shown the return of 30% in the form of secured and guaranteed return, but in actual it was not that secured at that time. After some time, there is a collapse of the program group in the year 2004 with the dents of around $108 million. So the following slide is the duties of the directors and the Corporation Act. My friend Imran will take this slide.
Hi everyone, I will present all about the duties of the director and under the Corporation Act. So there was a lot of duties of the directors under the Corporation Act, which should be followed by all the directors. First of all, providing the protection. This is the duty of the director to provide the protection to the interest of the business entities or organization is considered to be one of the duty of the director. And the second one, the director liability to avoid act of breach. When the director breach the duties which are laid in the act, then this enforces them liable toward the act of the breach, and the penalty can be levied on such directors. And the duties which are required to be fulfilled by the directors help them to gain an understanding of the liabilities. There are some other duties sections which told us which type of duties and directors should be followed according to the Corporation Law Act. First of all, duty of care is mentioned on the section 180. This section deals with the duty of care performed by the director. In other words, it provides that there should not be involved any form of negligence on the part of the director of the company. Hence, the director are under liability to exercise their duties with the proper case. In section 181, this is about the principle of good faith. As per the provision of this section, it provides that the director should act on the principles of good faith. Hence, the director are under the responsibility to provide maximum benefit to the business undertaking and not consider the personal interest. And any confidential information should not be used for the personal benefit. The objective of the business are taken into consideration by directors, note the business objective and the acts. And third one is the section 182. The provision of the section provide the understanding regarding the usage of position by a director on the officers or the officers in the business. This section provides that the position should not be used to fulfill the personal or the individual goal, rather than it can be used to fulfill the organization goals and the objective. And the last one is the section 191. This section provides the situation of the conflict, that if there is involved the conflict among the interests led by the company or the director, then this should be notified to the company. And the second slide is about the duties breach in the case and reason of the breach of the duty. First of all, false promotion of the advertisement of the company. In the given case, the director of the company named Nahid was involved in the act of false promotion of the advertisement of the company. Here the director was not at the front footing, hence all the obligations are laid on the court regarding how to deal with the situation of such conduct. And this was the second point. And the third point is duty of care. As per the provision of the section 180, the duty of care imposed on the director of the company, which is not exercised by Nahid, and he was violated the laws. He was indirectly involved in the fraud committed with the company. The third one is the personal interest. The regulation of this section are majorly imposed on the board, director and the officers of the company. Hence, the director should act in the best interest of the company, should not cover any form of personal interest. The fourth one is the breach of section 182. The provision of section 182 are also breached in this case, which provide the director should not make the improper use of their position, but here in the act of the promotion are used in the personal interest. The case in the last breach penalty can be $200,000. As per the provision, if the breach involved, then the directors or officer are liable to penalty of $200 or imprisonment of 5 years, or maybe can be liable just a penalty because he was breaching some provisions in this case. And for the purpose of strict compliance, strictly penalty can be levied on the director. Thank you. The other slide will be presented by the Rajiv.
Thank you. It's Rajiv again, and I'm discussing the decision of the court involved in this case. In this case, the court observed that there is a breach of the provision of the Provisions Act by the director. This act of the director is also acted as a jeopardy to the interest of the organization. That means when there are involved a fraud by third party, but director fails to prevent such fraud. Hence, the directors of the company are liable as per the provision of the section 181, 183. Herein, Mr. Maxwell, director of the company, was ordered to make a payment of $1 million as a compensatory penalty and amount. The directors were also banned to perform any such duties in the future by court. Also, the court banned or restricted other 7 officers who were involved in the promotion of the scheme. This order was made by the court. When it is analyzed that the advertisements are made without adequate disclosure of the facts, Representation Act as a detective and officers do not exercise their duties effectively. The next slide is about the critical analysis of the decision of the court as per the Corporations Act. In this case, the decision was made in the favor of ASIC, Australian Security Investments Corporation. It is a representative body that is responsible for performing the investigations and for the proper compliance of the business functions as per the provisions laid under the Corporation Act 2001. The role of the director was very significant in the operations of the business. Hence, the act of a misleading advertisement affects the investors and the investment companies. Here it was considered to be the main party in the violations of the provisions of the law. Therefore, the act performed by the director shows the nature of his guilty interest in the business facilitation. The decision is laid by the court. In this case, is a part of the right way to justice and is considered to be an important part. Herein the role which is played by the other directors also acts as an initial petition which was started against all other directors involved in the company. Some of the directors were penalized by the act, but others who were innocent can be removed by the case. Herein the decision is an influence when the liability of a Nahad is taken into consideration, but he is not directly involved in the act of a promotion. Hence the view of the court is that effects on the business functions are considered to be a significant factor in terms of deciding the liability of individuals. Hence the decisions taken by the court was correct, which proves that the involvement is not significant in terms of the decision making of the malicious intent. Hence, if such acts affect the company, when the person involved should be penalized by the court proceedings. And the next slide is going to be impact on operation of companies in Australia. My friend Alam will be taking this.
Hi, this is Alam. I'm going to describe about the impact on operation of companies in Australia. It is assessed from the given case that all the companies involved in the market of Australia are required to follow the legal provision provided in the Companies Act 2001. It is analyzed the working of companies are assessed in terms of compliance of legal regulation laid by the Corporation Act. All the laws are followed by both the directors and the officers of the company. Hence, the decision made in this case provides as an idea to all the directors of company to follow the strict rules and the regulation to save themselves from the legal acts and regulation. Hence, the properly run the business, it is necessary that all the regulation and the laws are required to be followed by the companies. Now I will tell my friend Rajiv to continue from here.
Here we comes to the conclusion. The conclusion of this case is like the Corporation Act has plays a key role in the development of the business. The roles and the responsibilities assigned to each director and officers have effectively cleared from the report prepared. The act of the court is provided in terms of decision making and also the strict regulation which are imposed on the director. The liability and responsibilities are effectively calculated from the completion of the report. Hence, it is clear from the above discussion that all the provision of the acts are required to be followed by the organization and their associated officers and the directors in Australia. And thanks for giving this opportunity to my professor, Mr. Jonathan.
Thank you
you
so
all.
much. Yes.